As the new week of trial sessions begins, online, lawyers are pointing to one key development to watch: the growing effort to shift blame away from YNW Melly and onto YNW Bortlen. On the very first day of the YNW Melly trial, his legal team began, hinting that Bortlen may play a much larger role in the case than previously believed. Within just 30 minutes of opening arguments, reports surfaced that Bortlen had gunpowder residue on his hands and had changed clothes before bringing victims Sackchaser and Juvie to the hospital. It's important to note that only Melly and Bortlen were in the car with the two victims. A video from Melly's lawyer further breaks down these early revelations, reinforcing the strategy of casting suspicion toward Bortlen.
Lies. Those were his lies. Courtroom Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. And you don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, car riddled with and when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket. Not Courtroom Henry. There were 3 phones.
In his full statement, YNW Melly's lawyer exposed several critical details about YNW Bortlen. He revealed that Bortlen had lied to federal authorities when questioned about what happened to Sackchaser and Juvie after he unexpectedly dropped them off at a local hospital around 4 a.m. The lawyer also emphasized that Bortlen had brought a change of clothes with him that night strongly, suggesting he may have known something violent was going to happen. Once the lawyer finished his statement, the jury was shown footage of Bortlen's interview with federal agents, highlighting the contradictions in his account.
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's going to be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's going to be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
Shortly after, the famous rap lawyer would then confirm this was wind of Melly's attorney. And why did it kind of sound like Melly's attorney was snitching out on YW Bortlen?
And we have an absolute shell being dropped by the defense, a mic drop moment. The lead attorney on Melly's defense team telling the jury that Courtroom Henry lied to police when he showed up at Memorial Hospital that morning. He lied about what happened. He lied about not having a phone on him. That Courtroom Henry, this is according to Melly's attorney, that Courtroom Henry showed up at that hospital with a change of clothes on, and that Courtroom Henry showed up at that hospital with powder residue on his hands.
This would end up taking social media by storm, leaving millions of people now believing YW Melly is trying to now put this onto YW Bortlen. In other words, snitching. As later on in the trial, we would then hear more evidence of Bortlen having firearm residue on his hands, as we would see a report of forensic scientists that covered the passings in the melee. Trial says co-defendant YW Bortlen tested positive for firearm residue.
So the right hand of Courtroom Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of residue and two component particles, and the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was residue present on the hands.
With her now confirming to the jury, YW Bortlen had firearm residue on his hands. It was very clear that this case is starting to transition into Portland being the guilty one, as once she was taken off of the stand, the courtroom would then go into recess. A new voting poll would then take place to the public on Melly being the guilty one, or not, with 19% of voters voting guilty, 74. Voting not guilty, and 6% on other. Now, of course, this could be skewed to Melly fans. However, when you take into account the wins Melly has been taking during trial, it's starting to look like he's actually innocent, as the famous rap lawyer would go on to share this.
Big drama at the YNW Melly trial today, and I told people this was going to happen. They didn't want to listen to me. The judge very upset that the courtroom camera and microphones are picking up whispers of the defendant's lawyers to each other, to the defendant. I also have raised issues. There's a photographer in there snapping away millions of photos of YNW's Melly's face all day. There's a cameraman who zooms in on YNW Melly while he's having exchanges with his lawyers. Courtroom is a privilege. With our human eyes and our human ears, and our human time, we can see certain things. But when you record with high sensitivity mics and zoom and you focus in on the defense team, that's not a privilege that you have. I can bet the defense is going to use this to probably ask for another mistrial or add this to the long list of problems that they have with this trial and then ask for a mistrial.
The well-known rap lawyer went on to address growing speculation about the possibility of another mistrial, as talk of it has started to resurface. YNW Melly's legal team has been presenting strong arguments that continue to build the case for his innocence. On day 7 of the trial, a notable development occurred when the judge allowed an undercover detective to testify while wearing a mask. During the testimony, the undercover officer claimed that YNW Melly is affiliated with a street team, an assertion that adds a new layer of complexity to the case.
And they would quickly get checked. That happened to those two kids. I don't know how old they are. Those two guys that were claiming money, the Island Boys, with the fun haircut. Okay. Yeah, they were claiming to be members of, which is a set of, and they quickly got checked by almost every that can find them on social media. They got and they then went to and apologize.
Did you find any evidence whatsoever of any recanting or apologizing by Mr. Devins in the records that you reviewed?
There's no recanting, there's no apologizing, there's no one calling out Mr. Devins for being a fake.
Although the masked undercover officer's testimony could be seen as a negative for YNW Melly, it reportedly made several jurors feel uneasy, something that, according to the rap lawyer, could ultimately influence the trial's outcome. In the end, this moment may actually work in Melly's favor. Adding to that, the judge announced that certain evidence would be excluded from the trial due to the prosecution's violation of discovery rules, as legal expert Mo once again explained.
YNW Melly trial, more missteps from the prosecution. This time, the judge issuing a sanction. The sanction is the prosecution is not going to be allowed to use certain evidence. The reason? The prosecution failed to turn the evidence over in a timely manner. The defense had accused them of trying to plug up holes. You're going to see the footage from the judge where the judge says, look, this is not the right way to do it. Ultimately, I don't know if this is a huge part of their case, this evidence that's being excluded, but it speaks to the issue that the defense attorney was talking about, is this is a case. If you've got your evidence, go ahead and present it. The way the evidence is coming out, there's just too many missteps, too many technical mishaps.
This turn of events shocked the entire courtroom, as it became clear that the prosecution is quickly running out of evidence to present. As a result, the trial may now drag on longer than many initially anticipated. Jurors have reportedly begun to question just how much longer the case will continue. All of this was once again thoroughly explained by the well-known rap lawyer.
So the answer to this question is going to you, because initially I thought the answer to this question was trial will last maybe 2 to 3 weeks, so sometime at the end of next week it's over, we get a verdict next week or maybe the week after. In fact, the judge said in open court this morning, a juror had asked the judge, hey, how long is this trial going to take? Can you give us some forecast so we can plan? And the judge said this, he spoke to lawyers on both sides. They expect trial will conclude at some point by the end of July, meaning Trial is likely to last all of this month, June. They're going to take a day or two off for July 4th. Then trial is going to last through all of July. You're talking about multiple weeks, multiple months. It has to be said.
With things looking very positive in the YNW Melly trial, it actually wouldn't be until an FBI agent took the stand where Melly would look even more innocent. This FBI agent specializes in cell phone data research, as the report goes on to state. YNW Melly's lawyer questions FBI agent that did an analysis on Melly's phone at the time of the crime.
Based on the information, you can't really tell the court precisely which locations these phones are following, can you?
One of the limitations of cellular analysis is that you can only say a general area where the device would be at a given time.
All right. So even with the general analysis, all of the stuff that we've gone through for about 4 or 5 hours, at the end of the day, you can never give an exact location.
True.
And could you tell if somebody was walking around a car with a phone? Would you be able to tell that?
No.
So it'd be your testimony that this phone, 9807, could be from here to here, correct?
Yes.
And what was the distance?
While the FBI agent provided some important details, it wasn't until the next witness took the stand that things took a dramatic turn. A DNA specialist testified, focusing on the forensic analysis of items recovered from the crime scene, including several found inside the Jeep where the incident occurred. This testimony could be YNW Melly's biggest breakthrough in the trial so far. According to the report, the DNA analyst confirmed that Melly's DNA was not present on multiple items, collected from the Sign-A-Major point in favor of the defense.
To item number 22, the swab from the Gucci sandals. We're able to compare the profile from Mr. Devins as opposed to the profile developed from those sandals.
I did, and he was excluded.
The stain on the front of the t-shirt, item number 23, we're able to compare Mr. Devins' profile to that.
I did a comparison, and he was again excluded.
What about item number 24, the cutting of the stain of the rear of the t-shirt?
After comparisons were done, he was excluded.
Okay, then on item number 25, the swab of stain from the Air Jordans.
Again, an exclusion.
Going on to item number 26, the swab from the yellow jacket.
An exclusion as well.
And in terms of the item number 27 and 28, the swabs at the Gatorade bottles. What were the results on that?
Those were both exclusions.